Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the ARCS High Octane Truck Series from the Monster Mile. Dover, Delaware welcomes us for race 10 of the ARCS High Octane season. We're glad you're with us here on ABM. A lot of work going into the event tonight. 20 trucks set to go racing. Your standings look a little bit like this going into tonight. Dale Markowski, Chris Fleming at the top of the board. Matt Vorndren, Kevin Feemster, they're in the top four there. Colin McDonough in fifth. Josh Gaiman sitting in sixth. Ahead of Toby Estes, James Kerr, Matthew Seeger sliding down to ninth place. Irish George in 10th. Ahead of Aiden Norman and Noah Belleville running out your top 12 at the moment. You got Bren Roberts, Briley Wright sitting 13th and 14th on the outside looking into that top 12. Aaron Edwards, Connor Knowlton, Matthew Kent, Thomas Andrews, Seth Wansing, Aaron Conover, Austin Mongold, Bobby Blowers, Stephen Oberstadt, and Stephen Choate, your top 24 out of 46 that have set at least one start onto the board this season. It is almost time to go racing. So let's talk about the starting grid for the race here in Dover. It is the newcomers at the front of the field, Sean Hayes and Zachary Mertez. Or Mertz, I'll have to see what his name and pronunciation is. Either way, new drivers here at the front of the field, Sean Hayes and Zach Mertz. We'll go with Mertz for the moment. Just a little bit simpler there on the front row. Fantastic job for both of them starting out strong here tonight. Patrick Oberstadt inside row number 2 alongside George Ward. Josh Gaiman and Aiden Norman in row 3. Matt Vorndren, Austin Mongold in row number 4. Ahead of Dale Markowski and Kevin Feemster, who rounds out your top 10 here at the Monster Mile. Colin McDonough and Logan Drumheller sitting in row 6. They're just outside the top 10 for the start here. Stephen Oberstadt and Chris Fleming in row 7. Cody Pennell and Briley Wright make up row number 8. Ryan Pennell and Josh Battles will make up row 9. Your last row is Elrich George and Tommy Withers on the field here tonight. And that's your top 20. All of them ready to go here. It is the newcomers, front and center, as we get ready to go racing here in Dover. Again, we are glad you're with us. As we get ready to go racing here tonight. A huge shout out to those subscribing to us on Patreon. You'll see a lot of content coming up this week as well. The QR code as well as in the description if you want to join us. Beyond that, it's time to get ready to go racing here at the Monster Mile. The green flag flies, and we're underway. The Dover 150 is green here on ABN. Car dropping down the running order here. Sean Hayes, your pole sitter, coming down the pit lane early on. Not sure what the issue is for the 70. It looks like a penalty for jump starting here at the start of the race, which leaves us with this battle for the race lead between George Ward and Aiden Norman. George Ward, outside lane, defends the top spot. Everyone having to nurse those tires early on here. Stage 1 ends lap 35. Stage 2 ends lap 75. Both Norman and Ward driving pretty deep out of turn 2. Norman trying to grab the race lead. Ward trying to power through in the outside lane. Does so again. George Ward leads lap 5. Norman taking over the lead here, and now with clean air, we'll try to pull away from George Ward. Patrick over that stat sitting there in third place. Then it's Zach Mertz. Sitting in fourth. Josh Gaiman in the top 5 at the moment. Matt Vorngren up one spot from where he started. Started this race in 7th. Both him, Austin Mongol, and Dale Markowski have all gained a spot, as have Kevin Feemster, but they are battling further back behind that good old 4-car of Austin Mongol. Battle at the front as Mertz tries to get around Oberstadt, and will do so. Mertz up to third. After starting this race on the front row, got jumped early on. Everyone else trying to hang on here. Battles further down as well. That is Oberstadt. Steven Oberstadt trying to get around Colin McDonough. And the 3 truck goes through. On board here with the Henderson Graphics truck of Oberstadt. Oberstadt trying to close into the top 10 here, in 13th at the moment. Henderson Graphics, a partner officially with ABN. NASCAR quality without the NASCAR prices. If you want custom iRacing schemes, the QR code on the left side of your screen can get you hooked up. Proud partner of ABN. And with Carolina Beagle Racing as well, sitting on this 3 truck as he tries to close in for position, battling right now with Drumheller, one of the 3 debutantes here tonight. And he will get around Drumheller there out of turn 2. George Ward under pressure there from Mertz. Zach Mertz trying to get on through. George Ward tags the wall just a little bit there at turn 4, but holds on to second place as Josh Gaiman tries to battle his way up into the podium places. Gaiman trying to capitalize on the chaos here in the early goings in Dover. 20 laps to go in stage number 1. Norman has pulled away with a nearly 3-second advantage at the front of the board. Car in the fence. Gaiman bounced off the safety barrier pretty hard there, and that's going to allow the ABN Studios truck of Matt Vorndren to go on through. Caution is out for the first time, though. And it looks like it is for Logan Drumheller. First caution of the night here on lap 19. Huge contact with the wall there. Just bounces off the safety barrier. That's in front of Chris Fleming, who makes contact with him after the fact. Ryan Pinnell gets through there, the 12. And the 5 goes for a pirouette along the concrete banking here on the front straightaway. And caution comes out for the first time here in Dover. So this will group the field up back together. Decisions. Do you go and grab tires right now, or do you try to hang on and get to the end of stage 1? You do not have enough sets of tires to do both, as well as make pit stops there at the stage 2 break and the end of the race. A decent chunk come down pit lane now, though. George Ward, one of them, leading the group down, with Norman, Vorndren, Oberstadt, Mongold, and McDonough staying out. Sean Hayes will be the free pass recipient after getting the black flag for the jump start at the beginning of the race, and he will now be back on the lead lap. While we're under caution for the first time, a huge shout out to all of our Premier Tier Patreon subscribers that have helped keep everything up and going here over the last couple months. Trade Ups Logan, Dogman 2935, Nixora, B-Dogs, Eli Sassick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Blue Jay, Tyler Head, and Colin McDonough. Thank you so much for your support so far here as we try to keep the lights on here on ABN during this prolonged cancer fight. Appreciate those that have also subscribed on Patreon via the entry level, the plus subscription as well. All the support has been greatly appreciated. For those tuning in tonight, we have more racing coming up tomorrow night. The Winstall Cup Series will be coming at you pretty quickly here, and we can't wait to carry on this weekend of racing. Aiden Norman leads the way. We get ready to go back racing. If you're in the Midwest, hope you're staying safe through the tornadoes and the storms right now. If you're spending the time indoors with us, we greatly appreciate it. We got Winstall Racing from Pocono tomorrow. And then we have on Patreon on Monday the HTL Double Barrel Challenge season finale. And then on Thursday, right here on YouTube, it is the Karts Indianapolis 500. A lot of exciting times coming up here this week to end off the month of April. Green flag flies, and away we go. Norman and Vorndren, front and center. Everyone gets going pretty well clear. But it is Norman with the advantage over Vorndren and Patrick Oberstadt, top three. Trouble, Gaiman. And that's going to be our second caution. Withers involved at the end there. Very late yellow call. Gaiman spinning from the fourth position. And here's what happened. Coming out of turn number 4. Tires trying to get up the temperature. Just breaks loose on his own. Out of turn 4. It just never comes back to him. Tries to lock it down, tries to lock it down, tries to lock it down. You see where Wither grabs him because he also got loose there. Here's what happened to Withers. Similar situation there, just kind of snaps loose on him. Oh no. Irish George plows into him. So that's what happened. Irish George got a huge piece of it. And the Ram truck here. Let's go roll bar. I don't think he was expecting Withers to check up quite as much as he did. But he did. And so that kind of just hurts the bunch. So second caution of the night. A few others coming down pit lane once more. Oberstadt, Mongold, Withers, Gaiman, Drumheller, Fleming, George. Cody Pennell calls his day to a close, 17 laps in. So all 19 still running are on the lead lap. So we get ready to go back racing with Norman and Vorndren once again front and center at the front of the field. With 19 trucks still rolling. Remember, stage 1 ends on lap 35. So it's becoming a sprint to the end of the stage. Pace truck rolls in. Norman, Vorndren, Markowski, Wright, McDonough, your top 5. Green flag flies, and away we go. Wheel spin from Norman, but he gets going. Vorndren caught napping. Drops to third immediately. Markowski into second. And you got to be careful. These tires are going to be extra cold now. Now they've been sitting a little bit longer under caution. Vorndren side by side. A little bit of contact there with Bradley Wright, but they stay going in the right direction. Vorndren up top, Wright on the bottom. Wright trying to drive through the bottom of the racetrack. Trying to get around the 0-0 to no avail. Vorndren gets clear for third. Keep an eye on George Ward. Fresh tires for him as well. Back up into the top 5. Here comes Markowski. He looks for the race lead. Using his fresher tires. Norman can't do anything about it. Markowski to the point. Looking for the stage win. Norman and Vorndren stayed out. They are on the oldest tires. Same with Colin McDonough and Sean Hayes. Car in the fence further back. But we stay green. Believe that was McDonough. It is McDonough. That was on the outside lane in the wall. McDonough dropping down to 10th. Now out of the top 10. Bradley Wright has gotten clear for second. George Ward looking for third. 5 to go. And George Ward just way better mid-corner right now than Aiden Norman. Norman and company, they're thinking short-term pain because they're going to have an extra set of tires here. To use on this stage break. Ward tags the wall pretty hard. Here comes Kevin Feemster in this battle for position. On board with Feemster. That's Ward to his right. Ward drives clear through 3 and 4. Feemster had to really feather the throttle. You could hear it. You had to stab at it to get that car to turn away from the fence. Cut it close, but got away with it. Norman sitting as a sitting duck at the moment. Ward trying to find his way through outside lane. All Norman can do is defend the bottom of the racetrack. Ward through for third. Feemster's going to try to follow through for fourth. And then you have Josh Battles looking for the top 5. And he might get it. Cuts it close out of turn 4, but gets through. 2 to go in stage 1. A lot of latency there for Sean Hayes, a 70-year pole sitter. Struggling early on. Gaiman gets around him for the 10th spot. At the front, Bradley Wright is closed down on Markowski. Quarter second between the two. White flag is in the air. Sorry, this is the end of the stage. Our lap count is a little bit slow right now. So Markowski does win stage 1. Bradley Wright wins his second stage 1. George Ward, Kevin Feemster, Josh Battles, top 5 in the stage. Aiden Norman, Matt Vorndren, Patrick Oberstadt, Zach Mertz, and Josh Gaiman round out your top 10 here in the stage. And all 19 that took the checkered flag on the stage are on the lead lap. Austin Mongold, though struggling mightily, is lead lap here. And so the pace truck is out. And those that did not come down pit lane will do so now, desperately needing fresh tires to contend here to start stage 2. That's Markowski. Very precious points. Right now sitting where he needs to be. Again, a reminder, this is before the stage points. Markowski already had the points lead by 6 over Chris Fleming. Fleming did not score stage points. He will drop right now behind Vorndren and behind Feemster with how stage 1 just ended. Markowski, though, he will extend his gap at the front of the field. It's a very precarious gap, but it is an advantage Markowski gets to use here in the Monster Mile. We've seen races flip on a dime here in Dover. As you see, most of the field come down pit lane, except for Patrick Oberstadt, who pit on lap 24, Austin Mongold, who also pit on lap 24, and Zach Mertz, who pit on lap 19. They're trying to go more conventional. They're trying to get that tire set that they used on lap 19 back in this second stage. So look at the pit exit here. Markowski going to pretty handily win that battle. Pressure there from George Ward and Bradley Wright. Not sure who won that battle. Looks like Bradley Wright might have. Work being done a couple cars further back. That is Logan Drumheller and Elris George. With Drumheller, they're the 5 leaving pit lane now. Elris George just now rolling to also rejoin the back of the field here for the start of stage 2. It is Patrick Oberstedt, though, at the front of the field. He will lead us to the green for stage number 2 alongside Zach Mertz, Austin Mungold, Dale Markowski, George Ward, and Bradley Wright, your top 6. People cheering on Colin McDonough. He restarts this race in the 15th position for the start of stage 2. Had a pretty rough go at the end of stage 1, tagged the wall a couple times, and lost out on precious stage points. Top 5 in the points going in. It's a relative safety, but not assured safety here at the moment as we go down the back straightaway. Before we start the stage, QR code on the bottom right of your screen gets you involved with our Patreon community. It's an exclusive group. Subscribers get access to bonus content, exclusive content as well throughout the month. They help keep the lights on here at ABN. Come on and join us. We have a lot of stuff planned here. We got community game nights coming up. We have State of the Studio coming up on Wednesday. Gonna be a fun time. It's Oberstedt and Mertz at the front of the field. The pace truck is in. The green flag flies. We're back underway for stage 2. Car in the fence further back. It looks like that was Chris Fleming. It is Fleming in the fence on the bottom of the racetrack. Caution is out for the fourth time tonight. Third time for an accident. And it's Fleming that bit the dust there a little bit. I believe it may have been Josh Battles. It was Josh Battles that was in the fence initially. So let's see what happened here. He was already well into the fence, and I'm assuming Fleming's going to bounce off of him here. Practically, he really tries to avoid hitting the 71. And as Battles gets bumped there from Steven Oberstedt, Fleming finds the safer barrier on the inside lane. And again, this is sort of where Fleming was at. Right on board with him out of turn 4. So that'll come down pit lane to pick up some damage repair. Logan Drumheller will do the same. Elvis George and Chris Fleming will also come down pit lane to try to get some more damage repaired as the field runs around under caution here for the 4th time. Overstat will lead the way for this next restart, this fourth restart of the race. Mertz still in second, Austin Mongold in third. Pretty colorful cars in front of the field. I just realized that Austin Mongold's driving a Sabrina Carpenter car, I believe. Some really good trucks looking, though. George Ward, that 98 truck, looks really good. That Silver Bullet Coors Light machine. A lot of pink. A lot of pink. You got the 4 and the 33. Markowski running the Pepto-Bismol machine. That's what you need every time you go through Cleveland. Overstat, Mertz, Mongold, Ward, and Markowski, your top 5 as we get ready to go back racing here for the 4th time tonight. It's almost showtime. To start lap 45 of 150. Only one retirement, that being Cody Pannell after 17 laps. The other 19 on the lead lap here, hanging on. Pace truck is in. The green flag flies. We're back underway in Dover, Delaware. We apologize for the technical delay there with the audio. You saw there, as we were dealing with the audio issues, Zach Mertz got turned sideways, saved it in that 0-2 machine. They got pushed out of the top 10 as a result. The driver's getting elbows out pretty significantly here. A lot of latency there for Sean Hayes. There could be an intervention if it persists. Also, some latency issues there for Zach Mertz, the O2, which I think may have caused part of the contact. At the front, Aiden Norman's got nothing to worry about. Half a second clear from Patrick Oberstadt and Austin Mongold at the front. Norman put on lap 37 and grabbed a fresh set of tires. Oberstadt and Mongold did not. Car in the fence is pretty hard. It's probably right. Tagged the fence really hard out of turn 4. Dropped down to 5th place. Thankfully, enough of a buffer between himself and George Ward to recover. Only lost 1 spot to Josh Gaiman. But you don't get away with too many of those hits to the wall like that. Ward in 6th, holding off Dale Markowski and Steven Oberstadt. Sean Hayes in 9th. Matt Vorndren in 10th. 20 to go in stage 2. Oberstadt tags the fence, chasing down Dale Markowski. On board Feimster as well. He is not in a Ram once this race. He goes back and forth between Ram and Ford. I think he just does it to make me miserable. But he's battling with the Ram right now, battling with Matt Vorndren for the 10th spot. And here he goes, battling to the inside of the 00. And Vorndren on the outside lane will drive on around. Hold on to that 10th spot. "60 laps will be in the books by the time we get back around the racetrack here. It'll leave us with 90 laps to go. Vorndren trying to find his way around Sean Hayes now. Seems like his connection is stabilized. So is that of Zach Mertz. But they have both gone down the racetrack. If we say that, there's more latency there for Mertz, for Sean Hayes, the 70. Teams are trying to find his way around. Won't be able to do so. Almost everyone tagged the fence that time. Withers hit it the hardest of anybody. And you can see it because he shot down, almost tagged both walls. And he'll lose 12th to Logan Drumheller. Ryan Purnell gets a little loose there at turn 4 this time. Doesn't hit the wall, but will lose spots because of it. Drops down to 16th. Trying to catch it to Briley right here, but the battle 5th is heating up between Ward, Mongold, and Oberstadt. Mongold had a mess up a couple laps ago and has just fallen down the pace. Mongold is on older tires, about 14 laps older than everybody else around him. Patrick Oberstadt still holding his ground. Austin Mongold struggling to do the same. Being shuffled down the top 10 list. That is Dale Markowski trying to get around him on the outside lane. Matt Vorgin will try to follow through as well. Down the back straightaway. Mongol just trying to hold on here, not even worried about stage points at the moment, just trying to hang on and get to the end of the stage here in about 8 laps. Down to 13th now he goes. Those tires have clipped in a pretty hard way. Patrick Oberstadt has not had that problem. His pace is dropping, though. Good look at what his lap times currently look like, and in that number, he's not in the 26, he's in the 37. We'll run with it. Withers has come down pit lane. But he was not in that top 10 conversation. His fast lap at 23.2. Oberstadt has dropped down to 24.7. Oberstadt just trying to hang on. McDonough trying to battle to get into the top 10. He's got to get around Chris Fleming and Sean Hayes to do so. Fleming's trying to open the door to do so in that battle for the top 10. Five laps to go. Some shuffling still. Almost a little bit of contact there between the 39 and the 70. McDonough trying to find his way through. And it will be a struggle. These two battling will give 10th place a pretty hefty lead for Chris Fleming. Overstrack trying to keep Riley Wright and company at bay. They are charging pretty hard at the front of the field. Josh Gaiman has kept Aiden Norman honest in this stage. It's within half a second, but it's not been closing in super hard. A lot of management going on at the front of the field between Norman and Gaiman. I think both of them pretty content to be where they're at the moment. Oh, huge hit of the wall there for Vorndren. With 2 to go, Vorndren smacked the wall hard, trying to get around George Ward. Coming around to complete the stage. Norman's going to be healthily in front. Oberstadt trying to hold off Bradley right there at the end. A little bit of leaning, a little bit of contact. But Patrick Oberstadt's going to hold on. Everyone scrambles at the line. Bradley Wright held off Matt Vorndren there at the very end for the 4th spot. Vorndren 5th at the line. George Ward in 6th. It's Aiden Norman, though, at the front of the field. He will grab those 10 stage points for winning stage 2. Pit stops taking place here for this second stage break. Norman and Josh Gaiman close there into pit stops, but Norman will still have the race lead. Josh Battle's got the free pass. Tommy Withers' day has come to an end, so we will have 18 cars on the lead lap. And Josh Battle's come down pit lane this time, and we will get reset and ready to go for stage 3. Green flag is back out. Aiden Norman leads us to the start of stage 3. The sprint to the finish begins here in Dover. Norman and Gaiman, it was a two-man fight at the front of the field in stage 2. And they're side by side at a turn 2. And Gaiman's going to get clear. Gaiman to the front for the first time tonight. 61 over 62 to lead lap 80. And immediately a half-second gap between Norman and Oberstadt. Trouble, McDonough. And cautions out for the 6th time tonight for Colin McDonough, who spins out of turn 4. And will reset the field with Josh Gaiman as the race leader. Here's what happened to McDonough. A little bit of help there from Sean Hayes. Out of turn 4. And it's nose first into the fence on the inside for the 39. And you can kind of just see, he just kind of leans into him just a little bit here. We'll back it up. Just closes in pretty hard on the 39. Gives him a nice little shot there. It just sends the 39 for a little bit of a ride. So we will reset and give it another go here with Josh Gaiman at the front of Aiden Norman, Patrick Oberstadt, Stephen Oberstadt, and George Ward. Getting ready to go back racing here. Josh Gaiman, Aiden Norman at the front of the field. It's the brothers Oberstadt in row 2. George Ward and Kevin Feemster sit in row number 3. And then it's Zach Mertz, Chris Fleming, Ryan Pinnell, and Sean Hayes, your pole sitter, in the top 10. Just now checking the chat from YouTube. Blake Henderson at Henderson Graphics cheering on Steven Oberstadt, driving the Henderson Graphics paint. Is Steven going to win? He's got a shot. He's been progressing up 9 spots from the start of the race. Still a long stage 3 to go, though. As we wrap around turns 3 and 4, the pace truck pulls in. It's been a 2-dog fight between Norman and Gaiman over the last 45, 50 laps. So we'll see if either of the Oberstadt brothers can have an answer. Green flag flies. Gaiman with a way better start this time around. First time as the leader. And here comes Patrick Oberstadt. Steven gets to the bottom of the racetrack. Norman and Gaiman have been the 2 fastest trucks all day long. But if you can disrupt the process at the front of the field, it sends them scrambling. Steven under pressure for Feemster. No dice yet, though. George Ward in the conversation, battling for the top 5 in that 98 car. That's Silver Bullet on the bottom. That Coors Light machine goes to 5th. Feemster has to let up. And here comes the 70 of Sean Hayes. Latency issues affected both the 02 and the 70 most of this race. You're seeing it there. Remember, Sean Hayes, jump start penalty at the beginning of the race, had to go a lap down early, has battled back from there. Now battling for the 6th spot with Feemster. Feemster from the outside lane using George Ward's draft to get clear. He'll let the newcomers, the debutantes, battle for 7th behind him. And as we expected, it's a 2-truck fight once again. They have set sail and left the Oberstadt brothers 3rd and 4th. Norman, fast lap of the race, 23.161 for Aiden Norman. Josh Gaiman was in the 23.17s on the last restart. There you see his fastest lap, 23.175, set 6 laps ago. Nobody else is even close. Gaiman sat back. He watched. He waited as Norman used up his tires in stage 2. Now it's turn the tables against Gaiman as he leads the way and Norman applies the pressure. It's a 1-second gap between Norman and Oberstadt as they sit 3rd and 4th. The 2 brothers are not going to battle super hard right now. They want to see if they can have a chance to reel in those 2 race leaders. I don't think it's possible. The lap times that are being run at the moment, it's a 4/10 difference between those at the front and the group that we see further back. And at Dover, a mile-long lap, 4/10 is gargantuan. A 4/10 gap in pace here is equivalent at Daytona of about 2 seconds. It's jarring when you come up on it. They've not had to deal with lap traffic at all today because of how the first 2 stages broke up on lap 35 and lap 75. If we go green to the end of this race, there will be lap traffic for the race leaders to deal with. Steven is applying the pressure to Patrick Oberstadt there for that 3rd spot. They have left George Ward to his own devices defending for 5th. Pole sitter Sean Hayes, outside lane, trying to find his way around the 98. The 02 of Mertz, the 70 of Hayes, the 5 of Drumheller. The 3 debutantes on track tonight. George Ward made his debut at St. Petersburg a few weeks ago. Ward defends the bottom. Mertz tries to use the outside lane to drive around. Can't do it. Looking back at the 70 as he peeks to the right side. See how close he gets to the wall. Really good look here from the camera outside the passenger window of the 98 truck. This is from the center of the cab as George Ward looks at the debutantes behind him. In front of him, not a lot he can do. About 2 seconds the gap now between Stephen Oberstadt and George Ward. And here comes Mertz to the inside. He tries to go to the bottom first. Ward will use the outside lane to try to drive momentum out of the corner. And he does. Almost tags the wall there. But he holds on to the 5th spot, and the more that he battles and defends, the more the top 4 will get away here. George Ward is one of those that's very difficult to get around. He defends hard. He races fair. There's some that defend hard and they kind of step over the lines. George Ward doesn't do that. He is just very frustrating to deal with if you are the aggressor, especially in these trucks where saving tires at Dover is so important. You don't want to burn up that right front tire. Ward knows exactly where to place that truck, and he is using it very efficiently right now. On pace alone, Ward is 13th fastest. He's in 5th. That tells a story for you in one sentence. Two debutantes, Mertz and Hayes battling. Mertz gets around Hayes. That is for the 6th position. Hayes down to 7th. Car in the fence. Feemster in 8th. Trying to hold on to it ahead of Chris Fleming. But be remiss. New look for Fleming that he's going to spend the rest of the season in. Last time we were live here for Octane, it was a celebration of life for his uncle who passed away following a cardiac event a few weeks ago. He raced dirt hobby stocks with that pattern, that blue, almost digital camo pattern on the sides, the staple of his dirt hobby stock cars. Fleming's brought that to the racetrack here on Octane, and he'll use it the rest of the season. He has gotten around Kevin Feemster for the 8th spot. Matt Vordren sitting idle right now in the 10th spot. Coming to 45 laps to go. We'll start seeing a lot of jockeying for position as tires begin to wear more and more. Zach Mertz now in position to attack George Ward. But how aggressive do you want to be, knowing the 98's got the track position game and knows how to use it? It's close quarters at the top of the board as well. Norman keeping a quarter second distance, to Josh Gaiman. We've seen both these drivers throw away races in this position at Dover before. Both of them in the catbird seat to do really well if they can hold on for about the next 43 laps. But that is the big question. Can you do that? Thorndren makes his way forward. He gets around Feemster, trying to get around Fleming. And then 11th place, Briley Wright, a second away from this conversation. Has to put the hammer down here to try to catch up and get top 10 points. Markowski trying to get around Ryan Pinnell. First time we've seen Ryan Pinnell on our screens all year so far. And he's battling Markowski for that 12th spot. Markowski, the points leader, won stage 1. But now sits outside the top 10, trying to find his way back in. Markowski, I think, should be able to get clear this lap. He does in the turn 1. Mertz beginning to lose touch there with George Ward. Ward trying to pull away. He's got half a second gap to Mertz in that 0-2. Gaiman at the front. Norman in second. Patrick Oberstadt in third. Steven Oberstadt in fourth. George Ward in fifth. Of your top 5, this is the only battle in it. 2 seconds between the brothers Oberstadt at the moment. 1 second between Oberstadt and George Ward. Coming to 39 laps to go. Thorndren is now trying to find his way around the 70 and the 0-2. He thinks he can get into the top 5. He just might be able to. He's got a lot of pace going through traffic at the moment. But you don't want to burn up those Goodyear Eagles too quickly. Here comes Fleming to the inside, applying pressure to Thorndren. And here comes Feemster. He saw an opportunity, tried to take it, but he got really tight there in turn 3. Fleming tags the wall, trying to give Feemster space. Everyone duking it out at the moment. Thorndren really pinching down on Sean Hayes there, getting around him for that 7th spot, and everyone tags the wall to turn 4 that time. Next Saturday will be in Las Vegas. Car down pit lane is Oberstadt. Green flag pit stops here to get ready for the end of the race. Steven Oberstadt comes in first, going for the undercut. But he's got to go through that 35-mile-an-hour pit lane. Norman and Gaiman stay out an extra lap here. No incentive for them to come down right now. Coming down early puts you under threat of potentially being stuck a lap down if a caution comes out. A standard 4-tire stop there for Steven Oberstadt. He will go 2 laps down. That is the standard affair for a pit stop here at Dover. You will lose a couple laps on pit lane. But he is right now the only truck off the lead lap, still rolling on the racetrack here. 3 retirements: Josh Battles, Tommy Withers, and Cody Pennell. Gaiman gets loose. Opportunity for Norman at the front of the field. Ultimately, Gaiman stays ahead. Close fight, though. And Norman comes down the pit lane. Norman has to go down to the 35-mile-an-hour pit stop speed. Patrick Oberstadt comes down pit lane as well. So the pit window is open to get to the end of the race. 30 laps to go here in Dover. Norman, Oberstadt, Mongold all down pit lane. Steven was ahead of his time by a couple laps. He just set his personal best, though. He's going to try to go for position. Josh Gaiman comes down pit lane this time. George Ward will inherit the race lead here in Dover. 29 to go. Feemster, Fleming, Hayes, Wright, Markowski, McDonough stay out. Ryan Pennell and Drumheller move up to the top 9. Ours George will also stay out, and he will become the top 10. And down pit lane now goes George Ward. Way too hot for George Ward. Sean Hayes grabs the race lead. And George Ward did get a penalty for too fast entering pit lane, to the surprise of nobody on that one. Sean Hayes leads the way. Bradley Wright second. Dale Markowski third. Feemster, McDonough, Pennell, Drumheller, and George, your top 8. A lot of latency there. And trouble. Caution's out. Caution's out. It's Fleming. Oh, no, it's Chris Fleming that pins the field a lap down that had already come down pit lane. Did not practice pit entry before the race. And I can almost guarantee you what this is going to be before you even look at the replay. This is devastating. Let's take a look. Just way too hot trying to enter pit lane. George Ward had the same mistake, but made it to the pit lane at least. Fleming never gets to pit lane. And because he's straddling the pit line and the racing surface, the caution has to come out. And he loops it again for good measure. We saw Aiden Norman and everyone else do it correctly. The issue is that Fleming tries to get in here really hot. Everyone's thinking about time. And one thing you can't do is straddle the banking here between the apron and the racing surface. It upsets the truck. And unfortunately, it is Fleming making a rookie mistake here when it comes to pit lane entry. And he just misses it altogether. And he didn't need to tow. Decides to tow anyway, I think out of embarrassment. And now he's down in 17th place with not really much to fight for now. Sean Hayes and Bradley Wright needing to make a pit stop here. They stayed out on the first lap. That is very peculiar. They were trying to avoid letting cars get the wave around here. However, I think the pit lane closes if you don't take the first lap for pit stops on this go-around. So they last pit on lap 77. In the attempt to be selfish, they have now thrown themselves behind the 8-ball here and will now be sitting ducks to Dale Markowski, your points leader, Colin McDonough, Logan Drumheller, Ryan Pennell, Kevin Feemster, and Josh Gaiman. You see all the lead lap cars trying to get around here because they have to start at the front of the field. All the lap down trucks will start at the back. All of the lap down trucks right now that made pit stops are very pissed at the 70 and the 51. Like, undeniably livid right now with the 70 and the 51. They are going to extend it one more lap because there is confusion here. The lap trucks need to move to the back of the field. They do not get to hold their position. The lead lap trucks go through. All these drivers are veterans of stock car racing. They've known the rules for at least the last 7 years. Josh Gaiman got the free pass, so he will be at the end of the lead lap as the free pass recipient. He'll be at the tail end of the longest line. And we'll be going green with 23 laps to go. They're banking for a quick caution here because if they don't get a quick caution, they will have to pit under green and they will lose 2 laps. I don't see the huge benefit to what they've done other than making drivers mad. Because they're not in a winning position right now. A almost 50 lap difference on tires between those at the front and those just behind them. Markowski is going to have a 47 lap overlap on tires. His tires are 47 laps better than the 70 and the 51. Gapplebee's is going to be open for business. .23 laps to go. The green flag flies, and here we are. And immediately, it's a tire spin for Bradley Wright. That was the concern, and a huge stack up. And the avoidable happens on the immediate restart, and we're back under caution, and that's practically the entire field involved. Common sense did not prevail, and now we've got a dozen junked trucks. It happened immediately. Before we talked about old tires, this is what old tires can do. Common sense did not prevail. Sean Hayes had the advantage. He was the leader for the restart. He was the one controlling the restart through the restart zone. Bradley Wright just guns it in. A first gear start on 48 lap tires just doesn't work. It doesn't work in any car. He tags the wall, and he just keeps it pinned. You can see him still wheel spinning. And there's just nothing anyone can do. Huge hits from multiple trucks. Ryan Pennell, Kevin Feimster, Austin Mongold, Colin McDonough. Elris George gets a huge piece of it. George Ward gets clipped. Patrick Oberstadt's involved. Aiden Norman gets a piece of it. Matt Vorndran gets a piece of it. Nobody really wins there except for Sean Hayes. And if you weren't mad before, as a driver who got pinned a lap down by 2 drivers on 40, almost 50 lap old tires, you're pretty mad now. You're pretty upset now. One of the times I'm thankful I'm up here and not down on the racetrack, because some words would be exchanged that would not be family friendly, I don't believe. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, no free pass was ordered out because everyone was involved in that crash. Sean Hayes won out. He benefited. Bradley Wright, I guess, did too. They got to keep the lead lap and pit for fresh tires. You don't see it often, but this is one of the top unsportsmanlike moves you typically see in racing. It's stuff like that. Markowski leads the way at points leader, has cycled his way back to the front alongside Logan Drumheller. Josh Gaiman, Ryan Pinnell in row 2, Bradley Wright and Sean Hayes, the very unpopular row 3. Green flag flies and away we go. Gaiman's pushing Markowski, Drumheller all alone. And trouble again, it's Bradley Wright again. And we're under caution again. Norman involved, more cars involved. Down the back straightaway, the 0-2 of Zach Mertz also involved here. Drumheller in the race lead, got a way better restart, but trouble further back. And we talk about emotions. We talk about how you feel. The last 10 laps have flipped the emotions in the room. Let's take a look at what happened here. George Ward just bounces up and grabs the 51. Norman tries to shoot the bottom of the racetrack. And Ward tries to avoid his own creation. And away they go. And this is a typical Dover crash where, in inverse to self-cleaning racetracks, the track just pollutes itself and there's nowhere to go. This is from down in turn 3. And you see there's not a whole lot of place to go. Sort of just bob and weave and hope for the best. I'm not sure who your free pass recipient was, if we have one. This race has devolved pretty dramatically over the last 10 laps. No free pass, it doesn't look like here. I'm assuming because everyone that would have been in line for that free pass was involved in that accident again. Logan Drumheller and Dale Markowski at the front of the field. Markowski now in the favorable outside lane with Drumheller on the bottom of the racetrack. Josh Gaiman in third, Ryan Pinnell in fourth. Sorry, invert that. Gaiman in fourth, Ryan Pinnell in third. Sean Hayes, your pole sitter, in fifth. Kevin Feimster, Bradley Wright, 6th and 7th. Colin McDonough, your last car on the lead lap, getting repairs done. He is in the 8th position. Last car on the lead lap. Aiden Norman, first truck, 1 lap down. Then it's Matt Forengren, Patrick Oberstadt, Steven Oberstadt, George Ward, and Zach Mertz, all 1 lap down. Chris Fleming is 2 laps down. Austin Mongold, 3 laps down. Elrich George, his day is done. We're down to 16 runners. Coming to 15 laps of regulation. It is Drumheller and Markowski leading the way. Drumheller leading the way in that 5 truck. Markowski in second in that Pepto-Bismol 33. The green flag flies. Away we go. Wheel spin for Markowski. Drumheller gets clear. 15 to go in Dover. Sean Hayes tried to dive at the inside of Josh Gaiman. Whoa! Gaiman's been junked! Gaiman's been junked! Caution again. Josh Gaiman out. And that car is completely toast. What happened to Josh Gaiman? He blocks the 70, who made himself unpopular about 15 laps ago. But in blocking, gives him this. And 2 sides of the coin will be immediately visible here. Oh, Norman gets a piece of it too. The 2 fastest trucks now out. That hurts. Sean Hayes is going to say, shouldn't have blocked me when I was committed to the bottom like that. And Josh Gaiman is going to be in the situation of, I wouldn't have to block you if you didn't try to, ruin the race of everybody with pit stop shenanigans. It's going to be a tit for tat type deal, but Josh Gaiman pays the price in a huge way, and he is done. The lack of camera focus on the 61, his day is officially done and dusted. And again, we'll take a look here. Just try shutting the door on the 70. And the 70, we've seen him dump people before already in this race. Was not going to lift there for the 61. The 61 just overcorrects. And the sharp overcorrection puts him right back in front of Aiden Norman, who's got nowhere to go. Zach Moritz gets very close there, but he gets clear on that 0-2 on the bottom. He used the apron, all of it, to get around. Austin Mongol gets through there in the 4. This is going to be a very interesting final 10 laps or so. And Josh Gaiman making his thoughts pretty clear. I quote, "It's clear on entry. He sent me." Said there's zero respect from the 70. And I'm assuming that is going to be repaid in kind tonight. Debutant on pole position. Quick, but as we've seen, quick doesn't quite mean respectable. And I think we've seen that in pretty decent spades tonight. Drumheller, Markowski, and Hayes. Top 3, though. Ryan Pennell in 4th. First time we've seen the 12 on ABN screens in 2026. He is in the top 5 at the moment. It has been a rocky road coming to 10 laps to go here in Dover. And if I were a betting person, I would not bet against a chance at overtime. Would not bet against it. Drumheller, Markowski, front of the field. Hayes, Pennell, Feimster, Wright, McDonough, and Vorndren. Vorndren did get the free pass this time. 8 cars on the lead lap as we get ready to go back racing for the final 10 laps here in Delaware. Through the restart zone. And away we go. Who's got what? Going to 9 to go. Markowski drops to third. Trouble. Pinnell gets spun by Feimster. Pinnell gets spun on the front straightaway. We re-rack him again. 14th caution of the night. And it's Ryan Pinnell that bites the bullet there. What happened to Ryan Pinnell? Does he bounce off the wall, or was it an assist from the 51 and the 17? We'll find out. He gets loose beforehand. I think he gets loose, and Feimster just kind of finishes him off there. I don't think the 51 and 17 initiated that. I think the 12 just got loose, and there was nowhere for anybody to go. Let's see if we can ride on board here with the 17 of Feimster. Riding on board. This is in slow motion, quarter speed. Yeah, he starts chasing the race car, and you see the skew immediately. He's just getting loose, and he comes right back down in front of Feimster as they're unloading out of the corner. And there's not a whole lot Kevin can do in that situation to avoid the contact from there. He avoids making it worse, which is the positive. But unfortunately, not a whole lot anyone can do in that situation. Ryan just trying to try to hold on to that top 4. And unfortunately, it will reset him. Not a hard reset for Pinnell. He's still in his top 8. But it will hurt a little bit. New car on the lead lap is Patrick Oberstadt. He joins the lead lap cars here. Steven Oberstadt now the first car, 1 lap down. How many caution laps have they run tonight? It's a good question, Rick James. Let me grab that information for you real quick. By the time this caution is said and done, it'll be 52 laps under caution. About a little over a third of the race, with still some time to go. For those that want to help pay for the shots I need to forget the last third of this race, the QR code at the bottom of your screen. Join our Patreon. Get exclusive content, such as me screaming into the void, trying to forget this race. As well as podcasts, State of the Studio addresses every month, and a whole lot more. Also an exclusive Discord community. If you don't have too many Discord communities already, ours is pretty cool. We'll be doing community game nights this week as well, so it'll be a lot of fun. Secret Hitler's on the list. Super Battle Golf is on the list as well. But the QR code is at the corner of your screen and also in the description down below. It's Drumheller and Hayes, the 2 debutantes. One popular, one not so much. Green flag flies. Drumheller again. Perfect on the restart. We're back underway here in Dover. 6 laps to go. Bradley Wright tags the fence, trying to battle with Markowski for third. And Sean Hayes gets the race lead. Bradley Wright looking for third, is going to grab it. Markowski fourth, Vorndren in fifth. And Hayes immediately sets the fast lap of the race. would have to hazard a guess that this was pretty much ball game unless a caution comes out with 3 laps to go. And that just might happen. Truck in the fence, Forndren. Kept it pointed in the right direction somehow. And we stay green. 2 miles left to go. White flag is in the air for Sean Hayes, and that epilepsy-inducing ball and neck code is at the front of the field. Out of the way. Doesn't have to worry about what's in his rearview mirror. Bradley Wright battling for second. Had one more opportunity, but not close enough. Sean Hayes will lead out of 4th for the final time and win from pole position in a wacky race here in Dover. It's debutantes 1st and 2nd. Logan Drumheller in 2nd. Bradley Wright will round out the podium in 3rd here tonight. Sean Hayes will celebrate. And in typical fashion, we can only see part of it. Overstat giving congratulations. Overstat being the person that brought Sean Hayes into the series. So the unofficial results here from Dover Motor Speedway. It's Sean Hayes and Logan Drumheller, your debutantes 1st and 2nd. Bradley Wright, Dale Markowski, top 4. Kevin Feemster in 5th, ahead of Colin McDonough, Patrick Oberstadt, Matt Vorndren, Ryan Pinnell, Stephen Oberstadt, George Ward, and Zach Mertz, your top 12 here tonight. Only your top 9 ended up on the lead lap there, down to Ryan Pinnell. For 1 lap down for Stephen Oberstadt, George Ward, and Zach Mertz. Chris Fleming ends up 2 laps down, same with Austin Mongold. And it's multiple laps down for Aiden Norman. Josh Gaiman not finishing this race either. 15 laps down for him. Elvis George, Josh Battles, Tommy Withers, and Cody Pinnell, the 20 trucks in total that started this race. From Gaiman on down, all retirements. By technicality, did not take the checkered flag here in Delaware. A very interesting turnaround for how this race evolved. We're glad you joined us, though, for the racing that we did get. We go from Dover, Delaware to the Tricky Triangle. It's the Winstall Cup Series tomorrow night. Right here on YouTube. Join us again for that. Going to be a lot of fun seeing those cars rip around the Tricky Triangle. Gen 4 racing, for those that are not familiar with Winstall racing. Always a fun time. For all of our Patreon subscribers, we appreciate you supporting us. Greatly appreciate the support by our premium subs here tonight as well. Trade Ups Logan, Dogman2935, Nexora, B-Dogs, Eli Sasick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Blue Jade, Tyler Head, and Colin McDonough. Thank you all for your support so far the last couple months. But that'll do it from us here in Dover. Come again tomorrow night for us racing in Pocono with the Winstall Cup Series. On behalf of High Octane, Drip Diecast and Collectibles, Just the Top Media, all of its partners, and everyone here at ABM Studios, I'm Carmen Sienna. That'll do us here from the Monster Mile. We'll see you tomorrow night in Pocono. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Good night, everybody.